I talk often about the importance of trauma as a man. I think that if you were to find the most interesting or most capable men on the planet, they've had the most trauma-filled lives. I just think that trauma is what teaches you. We talked earlier about how you have to have lessons taught to you the hardest way. If you were to call a Navy SEAL and ask him to protect you going into a building full of assailants, you'd like to think that guy's been through some stuff. You'd like to see some scars, right? Lessons and trauma, and the more you go through, the better of a man you are. And if you were to find the best men on the planet, I guarantee they've been through a bunch of terrible things. And if you listen to podcasts from any of the most interesting people on the planet, usually they've had hard, terrible lives. And you can use that trauma to become a better person, or you can let that trauma consume you and destroy you. But I thank God for all of it, because it gave me endless power to become the person I am. The bad things that are happening to you are what you need to become the man that you want to be. When someone emails me and says, "This has happened to me," I'm like, good. No, what do you mean good? It's terrible. How else are you going to become important? How else are you going to find endless fire to get up and struggle in the face of the competition that's out here in the world? How else are you're going to do all that with a nice, cushy life? If any man's honest with himself, think about the biggest transformative stages in your life. Think about the times you got the most work done. It was a bad part of your life. If you have a duty to your bloodline and a duty to your ancestors, and you truly love your parents, how can you still be sitting at home playing video games being a lazy piece of shit? Don't you want people to remember them? Don't you want people to think, wow, who's this person who raised this amazing person?
Do you have something to prove?
I think everybody on the planet has something to prove. If you walk through life and feel like you have nothing to prove, then you're a loser. If you wake up each day and go, I don't owe anybody anything, I don't have to prove anything to anybody, then you are a loser, because you are absolutely not the incorrect. You must prove yourself to other people. You must prove yourself to your bloodline, as we just discussed. You must prove yourself to God. God hates the lazy. He can't stand them. If he gives you all these genetic dispositions and these natural God-given gifts, if you have 2 arms and 2 legs and you can think, and you're not trying your absolute best, that's the reason you're not lucky. He doesn't like you. He likes the people which show him the beauty of his own creation. He likes to give somebody building blocks and them to build something amazing. It's the best thing about being a man. You get to build who you are, right? You can decide if you want to be a funny comedian or a musician or a kickboxing world champion or fight the Matrix. You can decide whatever you want to be. God loves to see that. Those people, for some reason, seem to be enormously lucky, right? The person who goes, I don't have to prove anything to God. I don't owe all of my ancestors any effort. You know, for 5,000 years, people were dodging saber-toothed tigers and catching the plague and running from Genghis Khan just for my stupid ass to be born. I don't owe them anything. I don't owe them a thing because I want to play video games. These people are losers. You should walk through earth with force inside of you. As I walked into this hotel reception, everybody looked. Not because they know who I am, but because as I move, even if it's behind their head, people feel something and they go, it's an energy that comes from brutal competence. It's almost like an evolutionary thing where a rabbit can just smell a fox. It just knows. That's what happens when a predator walks in a room, even amongst humans. You pay attention next time you're in a restaurant. If a man who's truly dangerous walks in, nearly every other man kind of looks up at the same time. You feel it. You need to or you don't survive. We've evolved with that to live. That's who I am. I couldn't imagine not being that man. I've done that because I've been trying to prove myself to my lineage my entire life. I wake up every day with something to prove. I have hundreds of millions of dollars. I wake up and think, more. I'm in fantastic shape, 4 times world champion, fighting the Matrix out here by myself, more. I will have to be braver. I must try harder. All I do is prove myself. So when I hear people go, I don't have nothing to prove, then you're a loser. Peasants have never felt like they needed to prove anything. But kings felt like they needed to go and conquer land. Isn't that it's coincidental that the king, who already had it all, felt like he needed to go to some far-flung land and conquer it and take it and prove he's the king. But the peasants, oh, I don't have to prove nothing to nobody. You're a loser then. You're a dummy. I absolutely and utterly, completely have everything to prove to everybody all of the time. That's who I am. I will prove anything to anybody. If I sit and say X, I will prove it to anyone. I can be checked at any time. If someone would have come up to me in that lobby and argued with my ideas, I would have proved that my ideas are sound. If they would have attacked me, I would have destroyed them completely and absolutely. That's who I am. So yes, I have a lot to prove, my friend. I think the universe is absolutely and utterly giving. I've never seen anybody dedicate themselves to something completely and fail. I've never seen somebody eat right, go to the gym every day, train really hard, and not be in good shape. I've literally never seen it. The universe is extremely giving. If you actually try and you actually want it, and you're actually not making excuses, lying, talking shit, you're going to get what you want. So when I see people who don't have what they want, I consider them losers. And this may be elitist, I understand that. But if I put myself through endless pain to end up where I am, it's very hard for me to have sympathy on the man who's afraid of pain. You're avoiding pain. I've been through endless. I now have everything I've ever desired. You have none of the things you desire. Am I supposed to feel sorry for you? Because you took the easy way out? Am I supposed to look at you and go, oh, poor dude? No. You were a f***ing coward. You didn't go through the shit I went through. You didn't put it on the line. So you deserve your substandard reality. That's what you deserve. You're a f***ing loser. Because if you actually wanted it and you actually tried, you'd have it. You could have anything you want. Universe is super giving. You want a Ferrari, you can have it. You want that, you can have her. You can have anything you want on the planet. There's not a girl I look at that I want that I can't have. Not one. That's my reality. There's not a car I can't have. There's not a house I can't buy. If I want to go to a yacht, if I want to go to Antarctica, there's nothing I can't have. Bam. Because I've decided to become this man. It's the same for absolutely every single one of you at home. If you want it, you can have it. If you're sitting there saying, oh, but I tried my best and I still didn't get it, you're lying. You didn't try your best. That is a lie. The universe gives it to everybody who genuinely tries. And I know that to be a fact because this world's competitive. We're all competing against each other. And the majority of people don't try. Like I've achieved this amazing life and I've tried very, very hard. But it could have been harder. I mean, was it that hard? About 86% hard. It wasn't 100% hard. Why? Because the competition's zero. Everyone is a loser. It's amazing to me. Everyone's a loser. I can say to somebody, listen, I'll make you a millionaire. Do this. Oh yeah, but the kids are home from school now. That's it. They're done. And then they'll sit and go, oh, I really wish I had some money. You are a loser. I will sit here on this podcast. People will listen to me for hours. And I will say, listen, I have hundreds of millions of dollars and I will teach you how to make money. CobraTake.com, I have a school, university designed specifically to teach you how to make money. I clearly know how to make money. You clearly like what I say. You obviously believe I'm intelligent and integral and I won't lie to you. And still, a whole bunch of people will sit there and go, yeah, anyway, next video. And then they'll say, can't afford a Ferrari. And wonder why. Like they'll be confused in their minds how they didn't end up getting what they want. Because you're a loser. That's why. And the majority of people are losers. And this goes back to why, when we were saying earlier, how I know the elites view us. Because I'm from a council estate in Luton, a single parent household. And I've only been rich 10 years or so. And I despise losers. So imagine you're a billionaire born into a family, a lineage which has controlled Earth for hundreds of years. Imagine how much they despise us. You think they give a f*** about putting a bullet in me? You think they're gonna have any sleep at night missed? You think they give a solitary f*** about you missing your parents' funeral because of the common cold? They don't give a solitary shit. Why would they? Because I already know how I feel when I listen to losers complain. Because this is what happens at a certain level of competence and power. You just get to a point where you're like, I'm tired of hearing your excuses. That's bullshit. And you become, to a degree, cold and psychopathic. It's true. That's what happens. And I get it all the time. I get thousands of emails a day. Everyone I grew up with, people I know, I get it all the time. They'll message me, hey man, just unlucky. You are not unlucky. You are a lazy loser. You are not unlucky. You're breathing. You're lucky. The unlucky ones are gone. You're alive and you are a lazy loser. So a loser is anybody who does not have everything they want at the drop of a hat. That's who I call a loser. Because I have absolutely everything I could ever possibly desire. And if I wanted something that I couldn't have, I guarantee you we could speak again in a few months and I have it. I guarantee you. Because if I want something and I can't have it, I can't sleep. When I was broke, I couldn't sleep. I don't know how there's broke people out here sleeping just fine at night. going, oh, inflation's 20%, gas prices are 6 times, everything on the news is a lie, I never stand a chance of ever getting rich, where's my pillow? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? I go to bed at night as a teenager and think, I looked it up on the internet. It was a Honda Civic Type R. I wanted one. It was like 38,000 pounds. I had no money. I had less than 50 pounds in my bank account. Couldn't afford it. Then I looked up how much a Ferrari cost. 210,000 pounds. And I said to Tristan, my brother, I was like, there are people with 210,000 pounds for a car. And he's like, yes, so? I'm like, no, not so. How? If I worked my job for 6 years and saved every penny, if I walked to work and didn't eat, I couldn't buy this car. How are people doing this? I couldn't sleep at night when I was broke. I knew that everything was a lie. I knew the Matrix was lying to me. I knew I had to find a way out. I was sitting there going, I refuse to live my human years and be some second-class citizen peasant when there's people out here who get to do whatever the they want. I couldn't tolerate it, and I was so uncomfortable that it gave me the motivation I needed to escape. But the people who go, oh yeah, nice Ferrari, yeah. TV. Dummies. Losers. And the thing about the world is, we need losers. I'm not mad at losers. If that's the reality you've chosen to live, you get one spin in this version of life, and you decided you want to be a loser, that's fantastic, because my cars need cleaning, my hotel room needs cleaning, I have a party with all these beautiful women that's a bit of a mess. Please, go pick it up. Somebody needs to do that shit. I ain't gonna do it. If I had to walk into a hotel room and clean up after some other man's party, I guarantee you I'd do whatever it took to become rich so I didn't have to do that shit anymore. But you want to do that for 20 years? Thanks, friend. Someone's got to flip the burgers. Someone has to make the fries. I want a Happy Meal now and again. But I don't feel sorry for you people because you deserve it, because it's a decision you made. You made that decision. If you're sitting at home and you say, I don't want to be a loser, you know what to do. I told you how to escape the Matrix. CobraTate.com. You can join. I'll teach you. But if you're going to sit there and go, nah, maybe this guy with hundreds of millions of dollars is trying to scam me out of 25 pounds. All right, smart ass. Have fun at McDonald's. I have no sympathy for these people. Zero. There are 3 keys, I believe, to making money. The word of the day. First one's perspicacity. Most people go through life and they do not pay attention. I've said this before and I want to stick by it because it's so important. You need to pay attention to every single time you spend money, because you cannot make money. You're not the Federal Reserve, you're not a government. Governments make money. All of us take money from somebody else or a business or a government. We take money from other things. So the easiest way to learn how to get good at taking money is to pay attention to every time someone takes money from you. So next time you buy a coffee, don't just buy the coffee and drink it and think nothing of it like every brokey. Don't do that. Say, okay, why am I buying this coffee? Okay, I want a coffee. All right. Why am I buying here? Well, this is on my way to work. Is there any competition around? Do I also want breakfast? Do they sell breakfast? No, they don't sell breakfast. They could probably make some more money if they're selling breakfast. Anyway, I walk in, there's a long line. Why is there one member of staff? I'm low on time. I'm about to leave and not buy the coffee. They're about to lose money because it's taking too long. Most of the people in this line are businessmen. Why is there not a cute girl behind the counter? I bet if they paid a cute girl a little bit more, they'd still make a bunch more money because people come in here to talk to her. Think. And then what you'll do is, as you go through life, every time you spend money, is you'll realize the problem is not how to make money. The problem is how much time you have, because there's endless business ideas. There's endless ideas. I walk into a coffee shop, and by the time I've walked out, I already know exactly how to open up next door and outcompete them head to toe. I already have worked out how much is the rent, where are they up, what are they not selling that they should be selling, what are they doing good, what are they doing bad, this chair's too hard, I'll wreck them. And I'll send it, and now my network is so powerful, which is the second point, network, I can send a few messages on WhatsApp and make a bank transfer. And 2 months later, there's a brand new coffee shop next door with my name on it, putting them out of business. So the first thing is you have to pay attention. Because if you pay attention, you'll start to learn that money is everywhere. Every building is owned. These are skyscrapers, bro. Billions. Every apartment nowadays is a million. Million. You drive down a street in London, you're driving past trillions of dollars. There's money everywhere. It's all around us. When I was broke, I thought that the world was broke. I thought that there was no money. And then I got rich and realized that I was completely and utterly wrong. There's so much money. It's everywhere. If I go to try and buy a plane or a jet, they're always sold out. My yacht is a 6-year waiting list. I want a Bugatti. They launch it. The email comes to my email address. 2 minutes later, gone. Like, there's so much money. If I want a diamond watch or a $1 million watch or $1 million Rolex, you can't get this stuff. There is so much money out there. Once you get to a certain echelon, you realize there's money everywhere. So there's plenty of money in the world. People with no money are just not very good at taking it. So you need to start paying attention. It's the first thing. Second thing is network. It's hard to make money if you don't know anybody who has money. If you sit in a room full of ice cream experts and all they talk about is ice cream, how to make ice cream, the different flavors, how to store it, how to move it, how to sell it, even by accident, if you hang around with these people long enough, when someone asks you a question about ice cream, guess what you're gonna know the answer. You're gonna say, you know what? That's because it's pistachio, and that needs to be 2 degrees higher than chocolate. And you're gonna look like a smart ass. So if you sit in a room full of people who are making a bunch of money, everyone understands this. Your network is your network. You're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Everybody understands this. And then they still hang around with losers because they're dummies. You're right. I am the sum of the 5 people I spend the most time with. Anyway, this is my friend Nick. He's so funny when we go drinking because he gets really drunk. Losers. I don't talk to anybody who is not winning. Everybody whose phone, every phone call I will answer, if I answer a phone call, it is from a winner. I don't talk to losers. Everyone I talk to is rich. Everyone I talk to is making money. Everybody. If my entire reality is full of multimillionaires making money, how am I not going to make money? And this is why network is so important, is because it's the same reason that wolves hunt in packs. If you're a lone animal, you have one set of eyes. But if you're a pack, you're watching every single angle, every single side. Perhaps I might miss something. I'm as perspicacious as possible. But one of my friends identifies that the war in Ukraine is going to change and the Russian ruble is going to pump. And you can make a bunch of money on a Forex trade, for example. I may not have noticed, but he'll notice. Now I've made a bunch of $1 million to get a text message, right? Because I have friends who are paying attention. All of us are paying attention. So your network is super important. That's another thing. We'll go into this because I have something called the War Room, which is also on corporatate.com. I'll let people read for themselves. But that's my private network. And we specifically talk about money and a few other things. But that's
Is that like more like a mastermind?
It's the real world's how to make money and the War Room's what to do with money, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's all on corporatate.com. I don't want to get off track, but it's there. But second is network. And third, it's to identify the reason why you don't have as much money as you want so far. And there's one of 3 reasons. You are either lazy, stupid, or arrogant. Those are the only 3 reasons anyone is poor. And you have to identify and choose which one it is. The majority of people are not the one they think they are. The majority of people are the one I'm about to say at the end. So let's start with lazy. There are a lot of lazy people. The unfortunate reality about money is that you are competing. So it's player versus player. It's like anything in the world. If you want that beautiful girl, so does everyone else. You have to win the competition. You want that car, you have to get it first. You want that money, everyone wants that money. You have to compete. It's competitive. Business is competitive. You are competing against people like me. You're competing against people like the people in my network. You're competing about people who only talk about money, who understand money very well, who operate in jurisdictions all around the planet, who are extremely well connected, who know things before you know them, who have mass influence and mass power and mass resource. You're competing against me. This is what you must understand. You're not waking up going, I want to make some money. You're competing against people like me. You're competing against billionaires. You're competing against hedge funds. How did these hedge funds keep growing? Where are they getting that money from? From the brokies. They're robbing you. They're robbing all the poor people from the pension fund. Dummy. That's where they get it from. This is who you're competing against. So the competition is absolutely and utterly fierce. Understanding that you're a man with a small pistol up against a mighty army. If you want to add a little bit of laziness on top, you're fucked. So when I say people are lazy, they go, I'm not lazy. I work hard every day. You work 8 hours a day? You work 8? The fuck? If I'm awake, I'm working. I'll be driving my Bugatti Chiron through Dubai, working. I'm texting at the same time. I don't take a second off. I don't take a minute off. I don't relax. I don't rest. I don't stop. I don't chill. None. Ever. I'm either asleep or at work. That's it. Second I wake up, I check my phone, I begin working. I go to the gym in between sets, I am working. I'm online working the entire day until the second I go to sleep, I am at work. That is all I do. And you are at home competing against me, and you want to watch a movie tonight and then say you're not lazy. You're lazy and you're going to lose forever. That's laziness. Next is stupid. I don't think many people are actually too stupid to be rich. You can be below average IQ and still get very rich. A very small percentage of people are too dumb to be rich. The slave minds, they'll never be rich because the matrix tries to keep you poor, because when you're poor, you can't think, like we talked about earlier. So everything the media tells you is designed to make you poor. They want you broke and struggling, because if you rely on the government for food stamps, you can't argue with the government, can you? So that's what they want. So anyone who believes in the matrix and believes in media and believes in the lies they're told, anyone who sits there and goes, that's true, that it's literally designed to make you broke. That's why it's all a scam. Do your GCSEs, do your A-levels, get in debt, go to uni, get out, get a shit job, get a mortgage. Don't worry, when you've paid that mortgage off when you're 61, then you'll have enough money to go to Spain for holiday. Then your pension comes. Oh, government doesn't have the pension money anymore. Funny enough, hedge fund stole it.
Pay half your money in your life in tax.
Oops-de-doops. And then you wake up one day and go, whoa, I just got So the whole scam, the whole story is a lie because they want you broke. They don't want you rich. If you're rich, you won't listen to them. So all of it's a lie. And intrinsically, we all know this, right? When I pull up in one of my 30 cars to a gas station and people look at me and they see a Lambo or a Ferrari or a Bugatti or a Koenigsegg, whatever I'm driving, nobody goes, wow, he went to school. No, they think drug dealer, gangster. They're thinking he broke the rules, because anyone who follows the rules doesn't get shit. It's all a scam. It's all a lie. So the slave minds are, but those are the only ones who are too stupid to make money. Anybody who understands that the matrix is lying to them is smart enough. So very small percent are too stupid. Inside of our school, at the height of it, before the matrix attack, we're relaunching now, we had 175,000 students.
Wow.
When we had 175,000 students, maybe 2,000 we kicked out for being too stupid. It's step by step. Do this, do that, do this, and don't be lazy. It's not that hard, right? So stupid's not the problem. So we have people who are lazy, very few are stupid, but the majority, the main reason most people are broke is because they are arrogant. I will sit here and say all the things I've said. I will do this, take time out of my life for free. Somebody at home will watch and digest it for free. They will agree with the things that are being said, or at least be entertained enough to continue to watch. And then I'll say, I'll teach you how to make money online. CobraTake.com, you can join the real world. And they'll sit there and go, nah, I'll do it myself. They're arrogant. They have these egos from knows where because they didn't earn it. And they're just too arrogant to listen to anybody. I became world champion by listening to my coach. I didn't become world champion by walking in and saying, I'll do it myself. That's not how you get anywhere in life. You have to listen. If Mike Tyson were to walk in, or if Elon Musk were to walk in here and talk to me about money, I wouldn't be sitting there going, I could do that. I'd be like, oh, Mr. Elon, richest man in the world. Hello, very nice to meet you. Please, even though I already understand I don't want to launch a car brand or put rockets in space, please, you must know some things I don't know. How do you deal with the currency fluctuations? Does inflation impact how much it costs for you to send a rocket into space? Like, I'd ask him something that's useful, right? But some people are so brutally arrogant that they'll sit here and they'll listen to all the things I said, and they'll agree that I'm intelligent, and they'll agree I'm massively successful, but they'll sit there and go, yeah, but you know what? I'll do it myself. I don't want to join that school because, I'll do it myself. They're arrogant. Everybody's arrogant. I sit with people who I used to go to school with from Luton who are still broke and tell them how to make money. And you know what they do? They answer back. Yeah, but it's not that simple because, the wife gets the kid, and you know what, and I don't like to do things that way. The way I like to work. The way you like to work is why you're broke. So what the are you talking about? You just sat here and wasted 10 minutes of my time. I told you how to take your business of painting and decorating or whatever the you're doing and make a serious amount of money, and now you're telling me the way you like to work? Then stay broke. The want me to do? What level of arrogance? But this is people. They'll sit with a multi-millionaire and tell you their view. Oh, I think that know when you're out qualified and accept it and learn. So we all do. I can't play piano for shit. The piano teacher walked in here and said, this is what you do. And I said, well, I like to move my hands this way. What kind of dumbass? But this is the arrogance people operate under. So I'd say 20% of people are lazy, 20 to 25%. A large portion of the world are not lazy. They're actually working exceptionally hard, but they're doing the wrong thing. 5% of people are too stupid. So say 25%, 5% is 30%. But 70% of people are brutally arrogant, and this is why they are poor. That's the truth. I'm not saying feeling depressed is not real. Everyone feels depressed. I'm saying the idea of depression as something you cannot control is a dangerous idea and paradigm. The reason so many people are committing suicide is because the Matrix is telling you that if you feel depressed, you cannot fix it. They tell you that depression is a disease that you can catch from the sky no matter how fantastic your life is, and you have no control over it. And I argue that absolutely. The reason the Matrix wants you depressed and sad is because when that happens, you are selfish. If you're depressed and sad, you only care about yourself. You don't care about your community or your family. You don't care about the world. You do not stand up for anything. You will accept being in the ass like True Geordie. You'll accept any amount of garbage that they want to give you, any Matrix slave mind programming, because you are too busy being sad to resist. This is why they tell you that when you are depressed, it is a disease. It is not a disease. You're depressed because your reality is depressing. The truth is, if I lived the reality that most of these depressed people live, I'd be depressed. Your reality is depressing. You wake up, your wife doesn't love you, your kids don't respect you, there's no milk in the fridge, and you're almost dead. Of course, you're depressed. You're running out of time. You never had any fun or adventure. Andrew Tate's out here with all his supercars, living the life. We're here in Dubai doing a podcast. You're a brokey. Of course you're depressed. That's because your reality is depressing you. The depression is something deep in your heart and soul telling you that you need to change things. That is the unlimited trauma, the power I was talking about earlier that you can take. Take all of that depression and convert it into unlimited energy to fix your life. Energy cannot be destroyed, it can only be converted. Take the depression and turn it into motivation. And all of a sudden, you'll see how fantastic your life is. A guy emailed me saying he was depressed, he was going to kill himself. And I said, listen, before you do that, get a six-pack. He said, what are you talking about? You're fat? Get a six-pack. If you still feel like killing yourself, good luck. By the time he sent me pictures of a six-pack, it was long emails thanking me how I saved his life. His reality was depressing. Of course you feel depressed if your reality is depressing. If your reality is fantastic, you won't feel depressed. I guarantee there's a whole bunch of people you can give $1 million to and the depression will disappear. The argument against that is why the famous people kill themselves, which I'm about to answer in a second. And the answer to that is actually going into the broader point. That the way the Matrix teaches about depression, they're trying to teach you to be helpless. They're teaching you that you cannot fight against it unless you take pharmaceutical drugs. And I say that it is not real in that paradigm, and that believing that is the case is going to destroy you. Having no hope will prevent you from fighting back. They're telling you it's hopeless, and it is not. If you do not believe in depression, like I do not believe in depression, no matter what bad things happen to me and how bad and depressed I feel, I know I can fix it. That will make me fight harder than if I believe I cannot fix it. The reason that rich people kill themselves is because they buy into this paradigm completely. They go to a therapist, and the therapist says, you have depression. It's not your fault. It's a disease that nobody can fix, and I can't help, and nobody can help. Then they give them a bunch of mind-altering drugs. Then they sit them there in therapy to talk about all the bad thing that's ever happened to them. Let me tell you something. If someone told me that I felt shit and I couldn't help it no matter what I did about my life, gave me a bunch of mind-altering drugs, and then sat me down to repeat all the bad shit that ever happened to me for hours and hours a day, I'd kill myself. It gets to a point where it just ain't worth breathing anymore if you're going to believe in that bollocks. But if you wake up and go, you know what? They're saying this is a disease, but I don't accept that paradigm. I don't believe in it. I believe that I can fix this myself. I believe if I change my reality and create an experience of life that I am absolutely not really satisfied by, I will no longer feel depressed. You will cure most of your own problems. Take two men, put them in two individual haunted houses. Haunted houses. One believes in ghosts, one doesn't. There's a loud noise in the night. The one who believes in ghosts wakes up and is paranoid, is afraid, can't sleep, is sitting in the corner of the room shaking. The one who doesn't believe in ghosts goes back to sleep. It is the belief in the ghost which punishes him, not the ghost itself. If you do not believe in depression, you can never be depressed. That's why I don't believe in it. And to go into a broader point about all of that, I don't even give a shit if I'm wrong. Because I've adopted a mental model that makes me ultimately and utterly competitive in all realms of human endeavor. And if by me not believing in depression, I am better at fighting the idea of being depressed, if I am better at making myself feel happier, if I am better at regulating my emotions by not believing in an idea, then I'll continue to stay wrong. I do not believe in things that take power away from me. I believe in things that make me more powerful. I will not sit here and start believing in ideas that are going to reduce my competence. Absolutely or utterly not. So I don't give a shit what scientist, doctor, I don't give a you put in front of me and try and convince me I am wrong. I don't believe in it because I am more competitive in this realm. And for the people who believe, if you and I go through the same terrible experiences, the same level of heartbreak and trauma, I guarantee your belief will destroy you when mine won't. And why would you believe in an idea that is against you? Why would you let your own mind become your enemy? Don't people understand that the entire world, the entire matrix is against you? If you can't control your own mind, what chance do you have? Every single ounce of my body is on my side. My mind is my ally, all the way down to my feet, my fingers. Every single part of me is absolutely and utterly on the same team. We are a united front against the enemies of freedom. How can I have my own mind betray me and tell me that I can't do something? I don't give a if I decide to jump off this building. If I decide I'm not going to die, I am not going to die. My own mind will not betray me. Perhaps I'm wrong, but I believe that I stand a better chance of survival if I believe I will survive, as opposed to thinking I will certainly die. People underestimate the power of the mind. I do not believe in anything that takes power away from me. And another thing I do not do is adopt the thinking of people who are sad. When I say this, depressed people send me long emails trying to convince me I am wrong. Why the would I want to think like you when you don't want to live? Why would I want to think like you when you want to kill yourself and I'm perfectly fine? Adopting the thinking of somebody who doesn't want to live anymore is probably the most stupid, asinine, inane, childish, ridiculous thing a functioning adult can do. If you're depressed, I don't want to think anything like you, so take your opinion and give. My primary goal when I speak is to make people think. This is why I am deliberately provocative sometimes. Sometimes this is why I swear, like we discussed earlier. Because by saying things that jolt people's brains a little bit, they might slow down and think and absorb. If I sit and I don't talk as aggressively or quickly or compendiously or concisely, or if I don't swear, then it's very easy for it to go in one ear and out the other. So my talking style is designed to disrupt. So it seems like I'm on the exact right show. I'm in the place I'm supposed to be.
Amen.
Every single thing about civilized society is underpinned on violence. The idea that violence will eventually appear is the only reason any of this works. If I drive through Dubai too fast, the camera will go off and I'll get a speeding ticket. If I ignore the speeding ticket, they'll add money to the speeding ticket. If I don't pay that, they'll send a bailiff. If I tell him to get they'll send the police. If I tell them to get they'll arrest me. If I refuse, violence. It doesn't matter what law, what tax code, what anything you can think of. If you disobey long enough, it comes back to the bottom line. The bottom line is always violence. So if you talk to somebody and they don't listen, if you try and reason with somebody, they won't listen. You try and bribe someone, they won't take it. It gets to a point where there's one answer left. Well, then teach them a lesson. A lot of people live inside of the matrix completely. Money is stage one to escaping the matrix. You can't think for yourself and talk the things you believe if you need that wage and that person tells you to shut up. All I'm trying to do is talk to the people who understand what I'm saying is right. When I say these things, there are going to be certain amounts of people who listen to this and think I'm crazy. He's crazy. And there's going to be people who listen to it and go, yes, finally, finally I understand. Finally I know what to do. I've felt this for so long. I've looked around me and knew that this shouldn't be my life. I knew that they're lying to me. I didn't know what to do. Now he's told me what to do. Those are the ones I'm interested in. And they can join the real world. Inside of CobraTate.com, I'll see them there. Anybody who thinks I'm crazy, that's fine. I'm crazy. Don't worry about me. I'm a crazy misogynist. The news has never lied to anybody. Every war ever started, the reason the news told you, that's why it started. It's not like every single one's been a false flag since the beginning. Every single narrative that they've tried to purport upon you is not to control you. It's because they want you to know the truth because you're so important. Don't worry. So if the media is lying about me, they must be right. Why would they lie? Why would they try and convince people that the world's most influential man is somehow bad? It's not because, they're worried he has influence and might push the world in a good direction. Of course not. No, it's because he's such a bad guy. That's why he has no criminal record. No girls come forward saying I've done anything to anybody. No victims of any kind. And somehow I'm evil. And the people who believe this garbage are slave-minded.
Andrew, question for you, bro. So you mentioned traditional women.
Yeah.
Where do you find all this? Where do you find these women, bro?
Firstly, you find a traditional woman because you have to make a traditional woman. You can't find a woman. You have to make a woman. You have to teach her and guide her. She has to learn from you. She has to grow from you. So you need to find a woman early enough in her career path of running around dating men before her to do anything detrimental to her psyche where she cannot absorb the lessons which you want to preach upon her. A good woman makes her man feel braver. She inspires him. She makes him want to work hard. Good women are extremely powerful forces of nature, as are good men. And I think the first thing you need to do is be the best version of yourself. And if enough people do that, then society will be fixed. But the truth is, as a man, if you have a good woman can be the best thing about your life and your greatest source of strength. And if you have a woman can make or break a man's life. Same job, same house, same car, same dog, same sofa, same bed. Different reality.
Yeah.
Bro, different reality. And even worse, you'll notice this the most when you have a girl who flips, who was cool, and now she ain't. And you're like, everything was good. Now you're upset. What? Over what? And you'll see. But a woman can make or break a man's life. To answer the question we asked earlier, if you're at home and it's Valentine's Day and you're sad, etc., good. You're lucky and you're blessed, and you need that mental reframe. And it's amazing how powerful a mental reframe can be. I think a lot of people even underestimate that the exact same scenario with a complete different reframe of it can change the outcome and all the lessons you learn from it. When bad things happen to me, my first answer is good. I've trained myself. This has happened. Good. It's supposed to happen. Good. And that's the ultimate reframe. Because if you're going to sit there and go, oh, why me? You got to do it yourself. You need all these bad things to happen to you, and you have to use them as fuel. I think all the bad things that happen to you in your life are extremely important. I think pain is one of the most important elements of the alchemy that's required to become the most fantastic version of yourself. If you look at any superhero movie, the superhero had pain. Batman's Batman because they killed his parents. If they didn't kill his parents, he simply wouldn't be Batman. And I think a lot of men, when bad things happen to them or heartbreak, etc., they don't understand that all that pain that's been given to you in that scenario is extremely important and valuable. Probably the worst experience as a man is to go through life and everything go right all of the time. Actually, imagine that. You're born, you wake up, everything's fine, your girl ain't gonna leave, and you don't have to go gym, and no one's gonna try and fight you, and your bills are always paid. That sounds depressing to me. Genuinely. All these bad things are supposed to happen to you so you can level up. You're supposed to go through the pains so you can get better. It's a universal law it's a constant of the universe. Even if you want to build bigger muscles, you have to destroy the old ones. That's how they grow bigger, right? You want to be more resilient. You want to be more observant. You want to be more capable of dealing with negative scenarios or heartbreak or bad things happening to you. Well, then you better get used to pain. Pain is the flavor of life. And the people who try and change the flavor are never going to be as competitive as the people who eat it up and go, okay, that's what it tastes like. Fine by me. Give me some more. And those are the ones who get very good at it. So if you're sitting here at home and you're sad, fantastic. I'm a little bit jealous. I'm genuinely a little bit jealous. Bad things are supposed to happen to you, but you have to use them as fuel. You can't sit there and let the bad things happen to you and feel sorry for yourself. You got to take all that pain and turn it into something good. That's your responsibility as an adult. Yeah, I think men have a natural, innate masculine instinct to protect and to provide.
Yep.
If you're a man who has his stuff in order, you naturally want to protect those you care about, and you naturally want to provide for them. You have no problem paying their bills and taking care of them. A good man has no problem paying the bills for his woman and paying the bills for his kids and making sure they're safe. That's what a man wants to do when he has his things in order. If you're the kind of man who doesn't feel that way innately, there's something wrong with you. And there's probably
50-50 is unacceptable, guys.
Yeah, and there's probably something wrong with you because you're not being the best version of yourself. And it's amazing how easily you'll do the things you're supposed to do when you're the man you're supposed to be. And if you focus on making sure you're as strong and rich and smart and hardworking and intelligent as possible, and if you're careful with the company you keep, both male and female, and you have friends, that's what's so important about masculine networks. So if you're the good person around the right people, you're going to end up affecting everyone around you. You can't go through the world without leaving a ripple effect. And that's why you have to be your best version of yourself. And that ripple effect is going to be vast and it's going to be continuous into space time. And you don't know how the butterfly effect works. You don't know about you being a nice, courteous person, holding that door open that one time, how that can affect someone's life in such a positive way, or smiling at someone when they do something nice to you, or helping someone who needs help. You can be a genuinely good person, but to do that, you need to be a man of capability. And you need to understand that the whole world can be fixed if men and people get their act in order. And I truly believe that all of this falls on men. But I actually believe that men are meant to lead, and women in general, as a general rule, when they find a man they respect, they follow him. And I know that because if you meet a good woman and she loves you, all of a sudden she likes the music you like.
Yep.
She likes the cars you like. She believes the politics you believe. She watches the shows you watch. So if we have such a problem with women,
She plays the games you play.
all of it. So we have such a problem in the world today, that's down to a huge lack of masculine role models and a huge lack of men doing their job. Because as much as we laugh and clown on women, etc., if you're a man who has his stuff in order, you're going to find a woman who's loyal to you. And they do exist. It's all about taking accountability as a person, blaming yourself for absolutely everything so that you have power over the situation, because you have no power if you blame the world. If you blame women for everything, you have no control. Yeah. If you blame yourself, you have control over the situation. And I think that if men get their act together, you'll be surprised how that will expand out towards society, and how not only your life gets better, but the life of everyone you care about, everyone you meet, everyone you interact with, their lives get better by extension. And that's what we need to fix society. I think that the universe or God or whoever you want to call it, I think they know what they're doing. You're going to get exactly what you deserve in this life. And if you don't have the things you want, quite often you don't actually deserve them. And if you start acting in a way where you do deserve them, you'll be surprised how quickly and easily they appear. You'll see. And a lot of you are sloppy and lazy, and you don't care to look back and realize where you've been sloppy or lazy, or realize where you've made mistakes. And then you're not understanding why your life is constant blunders and bluffs. Well, that's because you keep making mistakes. But if we look at it in a more universal and as a more meta point, I love that the world is hyper competitive. And when you're extremely successful, you do. I love the fact that women only want to date men with lots of money, because I have lots of money. And I love the fact that women want to date men with good bodies who are strong, because I'm strong. It's fantastic. I would actually be devastated if women changed their minds, because I like it being that competitive, because I like to win, and I have no problem with the competition. I have no problem with war. If you're going to sit and go, women shouldn't think this way, what you're actually doing, and you may not realize you're doing this, but you're speaking to the universe and saying, I can't win, so I want to change the rules of the game. Good point. I think you should apply a completely different mindset. If women sit there and say, I want this, 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 and this, I am never offended by that, because I sit there and go, yep. Okay. All right. Text me then.
I'm winning.
So I'm winning. So I think you should look at these things as a man. How can you, as a man, take absolute self-accountability? Yep. You can blame her, and you can blame women, we can blame society, all those things. That's true. But the best thing you can do is sit there and go, well, let me make sure I don't fall into any category where I can be disqualified. Yep. And then you don't have to worry about any of these things. And the best thing about being a man, in fact, the only good thing about being a man, because being a man is much harder than being a woman. You're born with no value. You don't matter. Your life is hard. The only good thing about being a man is that it's a harder version of the game of life. It's a more difficult version of consciousness. And if you play a harder video game, you get a higher score. If you're a top tier male, it's the best possible experience. There are dudes out there who are jealous of chicks, because chicks get attention, because they're like, those girls get to go here, these girls get to go there. But if you were at our level and getting to do it as a man, not as a chick, as a man.
It's better.
It's much better. It's always going to be better.
Yeah.
So we have the best possible chance to live the best possible life. All you have to do is be man enough to get your stuff in order. And this is something that's really true about the world. And I say this all the time. People often say it's okay to fail if you try your best. But I will argue, if you try your best, you will never fail. If you try your best, you will not actually fail. If you get up every day and do what you're supposed to do. I've never seen a person get up every day, eat right, hit the gym twice a day, every day, eat properly, sleep as much as they're supposed to, their supplements are in order, doing their absolute best, who was not in good shape. I've never seen it. It's literally physically impossible.
Yeah.
So you either want it or you don't. And it's the same with absolutely everything else. A lot of people go, I've been trying. If you were really trying for the amount of time you've said you've been trying, you wouldn't still be in the position you're in. And that's the truth. When you're truly trying your best, people often ask me, they say, well, if women love money, why are they with these guys or these broke guys, or why are they with this guy who's trying to come up? I think if you're actually really trying your best in your life, and you're doing your very best to build a life, even if you don't have it yet, I think people can smell it. Not just women. Men.
Ambition.
People can smell the ambition. They can see their life's in order. They're good. Something's right. You can call it magic. You can call it energy.
Potential is loud.
You can call it something.
Potential is very loud.
And it's kind of amazing that guys will sit and they'll go, what do I do about this girl? How do I get this girl? And they'll send super chats. How do I get this girl? How do I get that girl? If you actually just do the things you know you're supposed to be doing and get your life in order, you'd be amazed how quickly it all falls together. It's like everything else. In chess, good moves come from good positions. Boxing, you land a good punch because you're standing in the right place at the right time. You do the right things. The rest of it's actually pretty easy. And as bad as this world is, and as difficult as women are, and feminism and all these things, I promise you, if you're acting the way a man should act, with honor, integrity, you're hardworking, you're perspicacious, and you have perseverance, and you do all the things you're supposed to do, you're going to find a loyal woman who adores you. You're going to find it. You can be in the worst. You can be in Miami, Ratchet City, but you'll find a girl who's obsessed with you if you're doing all the things you're supposed to do. Even if you're not a millionaire yet, but if you're doing the things you're supposed to do. It's kind of beautiful how God will give that to you if you finally get your act together. If you're working hard, training hard, showing you're brave, showing that you're not afraid. This is some of the things that I think people don't understand as well. We talk about emotionality in men and how women find it unattractive. And I actually agree by and large, if you cry in front of your chick, to a degree, she'll lose respect for you. But it depends why, and there's always nuance and scenarios where that changes. If you're crying out of frustration or crying like a girl because you can't fix something, then I think she'll lose a lot of respect for you. But if you're sitting there furious with tears running down your face because you're about to go kill the man who hurt her, she ain't gonna lose respect for you. That's different. So again, even a lot of the other arguments, a lot of the things we talk about emotionality in men or all these things or crying, etc. It ties back to the basic premise. I'll tell you now, I would argue with all my money and all my status and all of my physical attributes and how handsome I am, and all, if a woman felt like she wasn't safe with me, like I would allow something to happen to her and I wouldn't do anything about it, she'd leave. Sooner or later, she'd leave. And she might leave me for the thug who would kill a dude who looked at her wrong, and maybe he's too far the other way. But they crave that safety. There's no light without dark. And if you want a woman to truly respect you, she needs to rely on you for everything. But you better not fail her. And you have a huge responsibility as a man. You got massive responsibility. You can't be the guy who says, I don't know. Bro, when she comes to you and says, this is broken, and you go, I don't know. She's going to look at you like, what? Who are you? Even if you don't know, you got to find someone who does know and pay the price and get it fixed. That's your job as a man. Or, and you just start saying, oh, I'll just tell her I love her all the time. Everyone on Instagram tells her they love her. And eventually she'll check one of their profiles and he's got a nicer car than you and he's better looking than you. And it's just a slow ticking time bomb. And we can apply this to relationships and everything else. You don't own anything. Everything is rented. You have a nice business, you stop working on it, you go broke. You have a nice body, you stop training, you lose it. You have love, you stop working on it, you lose that too. Everything is rented. And I'll tell you the number one thing in the world that's rented that most people don't realize is your woman's respect for you. You can't start slipping because you start slipping and the trap is they make you slip.
Yes.
Just eat this food. The superpower is to never be slipping. I'll even tell you now, this is a personal story, it's a personal experience, but women have said to me, you always live with your boys. Why are you always with your boys? I'd like to live with you. But they never leave me because living with my boys is what keeps me sharp. That's why I am the man they're in love with in the first place. If I live with just them, you're never going to be the same as when you're with the predators. You're never going to train as hard. You're never going to keep your head on a swivel the same. You've got to have that. You've got to have that warrior instinct. So when we talk about a woman's respect being rented for you, that comes down to so many tiny things. It comes down to the fact that your phone is charged and your gas tank is full and you're organized. Bro, some of my best conversations are me sitting with my girl and talking about what we would do when World War III comes. What we're going to do what we would do if someone tried to break into our house. Well, they can't, baby, because I put a gate there and I've got armed guards. I've got bulletproof doors. Look, here's a Glock. I got this here. I didn't know that gun was there. Of course I do, baby. I got everything. Like, they love hearing that. They don't love it. They love hearing that more than anything.
Stay ready.
Stay ready. Because that's what they expect from you as a man. That, I'll tell you, nothing will turn a chick on more than you telling her how you'll fight the entire world to save her. But they also expect it of you. And it doesn't matter how liberal the relationship. Doesn't matter how feminist the girl and guy. If they're walking down the street and a man comes up to attack them, she's going to expect her man to do something.
Damn right.
She's going to expect him to do something. I think one of the few things left you can offer as a man that social media cannot yet replace us for is security and safety. I think it's your primary objective to make a woman feel safe. And I think if you can do that, she will feel something intrinsic that is aligned with her biology that she can't get from social media. And if you do it well and you're good at your job, in fact, her being famous on social media and having so much attention ties into her needing safety even more. And I think that security and safety can be physical, it can be financial, it can be in a lot of different ways. But if you say to a woman, look, you can get a bunch of attention on Instagram, sure. You can make some money on Instagram, sure. A bunch of men are going to message you on Instagram, sure. But I'm the only one who's going to make sure nothing bad happens to you. I'm the only one who's going to make sure you don't make mistakes. I'm the only one who's going to make sure that you are taken care of. And if there's a problem, you can call me no matter what. And that requires a degree of competence and capability. But I feel like, and I'm just talking from personal experience, if you can't make a woman feel safe nowadays in lots of different regards, both physical and financial, and even intellectually safe. If you're competent and a woman comes to you with her problem, it takes you less than a fraction of a second to tell her what to do.
Yeah.
If you can make her feel safe, you can compete with the machine mind. But if you can't give her that safety feeling anymore, If you're Joe Schmo and you can't do it, or if you don't feel like, or if she doesn't look at you as a man who she can come to for guidance or advice, if you can't give her safety, I don't think you can compete with Instagram. I think you're going to lose, no matter how much money you have or how much attention you give her. You can't give her more attention than the world will give her on Insta. You can't. Safety's all we have left, which ties into why it's so important you need to be a masculine man in the first place. She needs to look at you. My girl says to me all the time, "You're my hero. You're like a hero. You're like a superhero. You're like the heroes. I know nobody can touch me if because you stop them." Like, you have to give that feeling of safety now.
You do.
Otherwise, I don't think you could compete. So then you have to sit down as a man and go, okay, I have this woman. I really love her. She has this Instagram page. She's getting money, attention, validation, all these things from there. I want to make her feel safe. How do I do that without coming across like a controlling weirdo? Well, she needs to truly respect me and allow me to have enough guidance and enough control over her life for her to feel as safer as a person, for her to respect me as a man and respect my competence. But I feel like striving to give your woman safety is now more important than ever. Safety is one of the last true emotional biological triggers that women have left. Truthfully, if you care about your woman, you should be doing this anyway. If you live in Phoenix, Arizona, and you see girls who get murdered in Phoenix, Arizona, you need to send that news article to your chick.
Yes.
That's not
dark side at all.
That's not being manipulative. That's saying, look, everyone thinks it won't happen to them till it happens.
It happens.
Look at this. Here's how, and then ask her as an adult. You're an adult. How do you think, look at the scenario, read the article. Why did this happen to her? Well, first it was 9:30 at night. Secondly, she was by herself. Thirdly, she was riding a bike. Like, how do we make sure this never happens to you? Do you understand that I wouldn't be able to continue with my life and be the same person if I lost you? How do I make sure this never happens to you? My number one goal is not to stop you having fun and not to stop you living your life, but I feel like as a man, I need to protect you. Here's this, that. Once you show your intention is truly for her safety, she's going to be far more likely, she'll have a much higher propensity to listen to what you say. Because that's the last thing left you can offer as a man. Now, if you're lazy,
Really good point.
if you're lazy, if you don't train, if you don't know how to fix the fridge, if you come across as incompetent, if you're sloppy, if you're slow, then she's not going to believe you when you try these things, because she's going to say, well, what would you do anyway? I have genuinely never been, or every single girl who knows me, whenever they watch the movie, and this is, I swear to God, when they watch Taken, they message me. They say, you'd do that, wouldn't you? So of course, top G. They believe Liam Neeson my way, because I'm that guy.
Yeah.
I'm that guy in their mind. And you got to be that guy. I've had my girl say to me, can I go here? And I say, no, I don't trust those people, or it's dark, or I'm not around, or I don't really want you to go there. And she'll say, I'm so glad you said no. I'll say, what do you mean? She goes, I don't know. I'm just glad you said no. I feel safer. I feel happier that you won't even let me go.
Yeah.
You can't get your girl to listen. If I tell her not to go, she's more happy I won't let her. And that's kind of where, I guess also, if we go further down the rabbit hole, you can also apply this to other things. If you say to a girl, don't go to the club, why? You're right. But the reason you're telling her reeks to a degree of insecurity. Now, you're right, and you can do it the right way. But if you were to say, I don't think you should be going out, bad things happen, I care about you, and I want to make sure you're okay, I'll take you out, but I don't think you should be going out. And she's like, I really want to go. You're like, all right, cool. I'm trying to protect you here. I'm your man, and I believe it's my job to keep you safe in all realms. If you want to disobey my orders, well, then how can I be responsible for making sure you're safe? But now you're not speaking from a position of insecurity. You're speaking from a position of authority and respect and capability and competence, which is a different thing. And I don't think many men even do that. I'll say to my women, be home before dark. They can be 28 years old. And I'll be like, well, it's dark at 6. Yep, I want you home before dark. Bad things happen in the world. I want you home because I love you.
I think God wants me to be the best possible version of myself. I think that God dislikes people who are lazy. I said this to somebody once, and he got very offended. I said, God doesn't like lazy people. God has created you, and he wants to see the absolute best you can be. I think that if you don't take care of yourself, God has no interest in taking care of you. If you have a Ferrari on the drive and you don't take care of it, who's going to take care of it? Nobody. I think that taking care of yourself and being the best possible version of yourself you can be is how you please God. I think that's one of the best ways to praise him, is to wake up every day and say, I need to be the strongest, smartest, fastest, most fearsome, most stoic, most capable man I can possibly be. This is how I please God. I think that as a man, there's always going to be a degree of pain and suffering in your journey. I don't think you're ever going to become a successful man or be good at being a man without pain and suffering. And There's many times in my life where something terrible happened to me, and at the time, if I could change it, I would have. But retrospectively, you kind of look back and go, you know what, that was formulative for me.
That's right.
That is what God decided I needed to become who I became. So all of the pain and all the suffering I've ever gone through in my life ended up, in the end, building me into the person I am, and I'm proud of who I am. I don't think many men especially understand that even if you don't have the strength to be a hero for yourself, you should have enough discipline and enough honor to want to be a hero for somebody else. And if you have other people you truly respect, you should want to be a hero for them. And I think that's the masculine imperative. If someone's going to attack your wife, that's when you become a hero for her. You have to. What kind of man are you if you're not? You have a brain, you have a mind, you have a mental model. You can't think of everything, you can't do everything. You can only have certain frameworks instilled inside of your mind. As a man, you should be hyper-competitive. You should try and be the best version of yourself you can be. You're competing against every other man on earth for the girl you want, the car you want, the house you want, the watch you wear. It's all competition. You should be as competitive as you possibly can. Anything that's inside of your mind which doesn't allow you to be competitive should be erased. So I started at the absolute lowest echelon of life, and I would like to consider myself somewhere near the top now. I've been through absolutely every stage. So when I say to men, you can become anything you want, and my answer to you is masculine excellence, there's no other answer. I can't tell you how to rig the game and cheat the game. If we're all racing a race and I have a Ferrari and you have a Nissan, I mean, sure, you can get a bit better at driving, but you're probably going to lose. You have to get a better character to play this game of life. So that's why I preach masculine excellence, because for many of the world's problems today, sexual access, being respected by your peers, making sure that your wife's going to stay with you after the children are born for a very long time.
That's right.
Being happy, anything. It all comes down to who you are as a man. The only answer is masculine excellence. There's nothing you can do besides hard work, accept the trauma and pain and suffering, and work harder than everyone else around you worked. We have a men's mental health crisis. Young men are disenfranchised. The suicide rate amongst men is much higher than women. And everybody pretends to care. But when I come along and say, I am a man, I've been a man, I know how it feels to be a sad man and a happy man, and I found happiness through masculine achievement and strength, through working hard in the gym, through dedicating myself, through building a life worth living, through taking care of the people who I love, both male and female, through becoming financially successful, through sticking up for myself, through having opinions, through being a man of honor and courage. When I do these things, I'm ostracized, and they're attempting to destroy my life.
I talk about this all the time. People say I've had a traumatic life. I say, well, then you're very, very fortunate. You had a traumatic life. Now, you may have misused that trauma. You may have misplaced it. You may have accepted the matrix telling you that you now have an excuse to fail, as opposed to using it to grow. But every single man of value went through trauma, and they went through pain. It's going to be painful to get strong, painful to get rich, painful to become important. It's going to be painful to become good with women. Your heart's going to get broken a bunch of times. You have to be prepared for the pain. If you're not ready for pain, you're never going to be anything that matters.
I think that the number one problem with the world today, and the biggest problem that men face, isn't the problems themselves. It's just the way that they've been taught to mentally frame issues. People think when bad things happen to them that somehow they're a victim to the universe and bad things only happen to me and this is so terrible. They don't understand that bad things happen to everybody, and the most successful person you know had all those, probably maybe even worse, at least the same bad things happened to them. They just framed it differently and used it.
And this is what people really don't yet understand. There's only one thing on the planet you actually have control over. You can't control the weather. You can't control your health. You can get a brain aneurysm or a heart attack. You can't control other people. The only thing you can actually really truly control is what you think. That's the only thing you can change in real time. You can be thinking of red and change it to blue. So why are you not controlling your own mind? It's your asset. It's your ally. It's your friend. Why would you make an enemy out of the only thing you have control over? I refuse to do that. It doesn't make sense to me. The worst thing on earth that could happen to a man could happen to me. And I guarantee you, I would still label myself happy. I'm happy because that's who I am. That's how I view myself. That's what I've decided.
It's amazing how much strength you can get from knowing that your ancestors are looking down on you and you're doing your absolute best. I also believe that God can be proud of you when you do your absolute best. And I don't think many people genuinely do their best in the world anymore. When I say do your best, people sit and go, oh yeah, okay. No, when's the last time you actually did your best? Like, I don't train to run marathons, but I know if I gave my best, I could run a marathon right now, first try. If I gave my best, life depending on it. When's the last time people have genuinely given their best to anything? There are people going through the world and going through life today that don't give their best or 100% effort to anything ever. Ever. They can't remember the last time they tried. I think it's very difficult to do nearly anything important if it's not perhaps to a degree driven by love or the desire for love even. I think the reason a lot of men want to become rich is because they want to feel loved or feel important or to matter. I also feel like the reason that a lot of men do the things they do is for love either of themselves or of someone else. I think the reason men go to work is because they love their family. The reason you go to the gym is because you love yourself.
If you take a man and give him a life shielded from problems and he never has any to face, I guarantee you he's terrible at being a man. The best men in the world have gone through shit. That's why women love scars, because it didn't kill you. That's the whole point of it, right? So the best thing you can do as a man is look and go, okay, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard. I feel negative because these are all so difficult. I'm struggling with X, Y, Z. Let me internalize all of that and turn it into a superpower. Let me become genuinely uncomfortable with my situation in life and go and fix things. Because, like I said, the universe is absolutely and utterly very giving. And if you truly hated being in the position you were in, you wouldn't be there very long.
When men say to me they're depressed, with unlimited options, with the capability to become anything you desire, with God giving you a full and able body and mind, how do you have time to be depressed? You have so much you could do. There's so much that you need to do to be your best self. And you're competing against men like me. And you're finding hours a day to be sad. No wonder you're going to perpetually lose forever. That's suicide. So how do you find time to do this? It's brutally ineffective.
If you construct a mindset that allows you to be as competent as possible, as opposed to feel any different or feel better, then you're going to naturally come to the conclusions I've come to. You're as competent as possible if you believe you can affect absolutely everything about your life. You're as competent as possible if you believe absolutely everything that's happened to you, whether good or bad, is completely your fault. You're as competent as possible if you believe the bad things that happen to you are going to allow you to work harder and become even better. When bad things happen to me, the first thing out of my mouth is good. Good.
If any man's honest with himself, think about the biggest transformative stages in your life. Think about the times you got the most work done. It was a bad part of your life. You were heartbroken, or, you lost a house, or broke, or whatever. That's when you did shit.
There is a huge percentage of the populace which they're beyond saving because they're the worst thing you can possibly be, which is a quitter. Being a quitter is the worst thing you can possibly be. God himself can't make a quitter important, because the only reason the place you're trying to get to has value is because it was difficult to reach. If everybody could reach it, there'd be no value. Value is linked to scarcity. The whole point gold is valuable is because it's not everywhere. If it was everywhere, it wouldn't have any value. The reason the place you're trying to reach is valuable is because people can't get there. So if you're the kind of person who quits, you're never going to get there. Quitters are the worst.
And the masculine world is hyper competitive. This is another thing most people don't understand.
Totally agree.
It's hyper competitive out here. All the women want a few men at the top. The Ferrari, you don't want a Ferrari to drive fast. You want a Ferrari because other men want a Ferrari and can't have one. It's hyper competitive. So if you're competing against every other man for every dollar you make, every girl you see, the house you live in, the car you drive, the life you live, you're not going to be able to compete with the person who performs regardless of how they feel if you only compete when you feel like competing.
And if life is perfect all the time, you don't appreciate anything. I actually think one of the worst lives you can have is a life where everything goes right all of the time. If you're spoiled to that degree, especially as a man, as soon as you reach any kind of difficulty, you're going to crumble. So I've had to get up a bunch of times, and I do not pray for an easy life. I pray for a difficult life with difficult challenges to solve and being strong enough to handle them. I've never tried to make my life easier. In fact, quite the opposite. If you really want an exceptional life and to do exceptional things, you can't only hope for the positive exceptional.
The only reason you appreciate being rich is because you were poor. If you were born rich, you don't appreciate it. The only reason you appreciate being in good health is because you were once sick. When you're sick, you'll do anything to be healthy. If you've never experienced sickness, you don't know what health is. There is no light without dark. Perhaps I'll be a happier person and live a more fulfilled life and enjoy my fantastic benefits that come with wealth if I do go. Perhaps I can have a more positive message and more people will know my name if I do go, Matt. Perhaps I'm ready to martyr myself. Perhaps I am ready to charge at the gunfire. Perhaps I don't care.